The law of cause and effect. Whatever we put into the universe will come back to us. When most people speak of karma, they are probably referring to the great law of cause and effect. According to this law, whatever thought or energy you put in, you will get it back, good or bad. To get what you want, you need to embody and be worthy of those things. It is the concept of you reap what you sow. For example, if you want love in your life, be loving to yourself. If you plant love and kindness, you shall get that in return. The message here is like that of the law of attraction. Everything you give is also what you will receive, be it positive or negative. So if you want love in your life, be loving. If you want to enjoy financial abundance, be generous. And if you want to have honest and open relationships, you also need to offer authenticity and honesty to the people you care about. The law encourages us that to get the things we want, we must also embody those things. When you think everything is someone else's fault, you will suffer a lot. When you realize everything springs only from yourself, you will learn both peace and joy. Dalai Lama. If you are friendly and accommodating to people around you, you will make friends in return. It is like the law of attraction that says, like attracts like. So if you want to achieve peace, harmony, and prosperity, you must act accordingly and do good. In simpler words, what you give is also what you will receive. If you want love in your life, love your fellow men. If you want to have honest and open friends, get to know them honestly and with openness. Key takeaway. Want happiness? Give happiness. The law of creation. Life does not happen by itself. We need to make it happen. The law of creation underscores the importance of life not simply happening to us. For things to happen in your life, you must act rather than wait for something to come your way automatically. You are the co-creator of making what you want based on your intentions. Ask yourself what you need to free up in order to create space for what you want to appear. Also, consider how you can use your skills, talents, and strengths to create something that benefits not only yourself, but others as well. The law of creation is about, you guessed it, creating. You don't wait for good things to happen in your life. You go out and make things happen. Oprahs and Beyoncés of the world are some of the prime examples of people who embody this karmic law. They have used their talents, gifts, and abilities to bless the world. They are constantly creating something, not only for the benefit of themselves, but also for the benefit of others. So the power to create ideally is within you. If you are not happy with the way things are going in your life right now, look at your surroundings. Decide what needs to be changed, and then change it. You cannot simply wait for things to happen to you. An important part of understanding this law is seeing things outside of ourselves. These external things teach us what happens within us. If life doesn't look the way you want it, look inward. Ask yourself what needs to change. Ask yourself what you need to release. Create space for things you desire to show up. Don't wait for great things to fall into your lap. If chaos surrounds you, then there is an internal chaos that you must address. Surround yourself with what and who you want to be. Then you can create the future you want. Also consider how you are using your skills, talents, and strengths. Are you creating something that only benefits you? Or are you also benefiting others through your actions? Key takeaway. Take efforts to create. Chapter 3. The Law of Humility. One must accept something in order to change it. According to Paul Harrison, creator of the Daily Meditation, the law of humility works on the principle that you must be humble enough to accept that the present reality results from past actions. For example, if you blame your colleagues for poor performance at work, Harrison says, accept that you created this reality by not performing well. To change something in your life, you first have to accept what is present. This is the premise of the law of humility. This is a characteristic that embodies many very successful people. They are strong, kind, generous, and very humble people. But when they all started on their paths, they had to accept certain things about themselves and society. So no matter where you start, you need to know that if you can own your story and its facets that you have no control over, you can also own the path that follows. A happy, healthy, and successful future is yours for the taking. A happy, healthy, and successful future is yours for the taking. So the first step is to accept something to change it. If all one sees is an enemy or a negative personality trait, then they cannot focus on a higher level of being. Even in Buddhism, we can see the emphasis on the importance of the law of humility, as that you need to accept the true reality of something before you'll ever be able to change it. If you constantly blame others for what you create or see someone who disagrees with you as a villain, you are out of step with reality. Therefore, it is very difficult to make the required changes. Consistent introspection helps you get the most out of the law of humility. The law of humility says you have to accept things before you can change them. You need to think humbly so that you can understand and accept your mistakes and weaknesses before taking the next step. You can change your direction only when you are ready to deal with the nasty truths about your actions. Denying your own mistakes leads to you not working on them, and as a result, you do not improve your skills. If you are in this category, it's difficult to make the required changes. Consistent self-reflection helps you make the most out of this law. Start where you are. If you want to change something, you really need to understand what to start with. Humbly accept your reality. Then work proactively to change what needs to be changed. Think about where you are in your life. Then work humbly on what you want. Key takeaway: accept reality. Bring changes. The law of growth. When we change ourselves, our lives change too. Growth begins in us. To make the world a better place, start with yourself. Because actual change or personal development starts with what you can control, which is yourself, not someone else. The law of growth also looks at things that are beyond your control and how you accept those. Finally, you need to focus on yourself, not trying to control the people or things around you. As the name suggests, the law of growth is about expansion within us. As we grow, change, and transform internally, our external reality will change and grow accordingly. This is where self-improvement and reading self-help and spiritual books come into play. And growth has no end. There is always something new to learn, shift, and heal. Wherever you go, there you are. To grow spiritually, we need to change, not the people, place, or things around us. All we have is ourselves. It's the only thing we can control. When we change who and what we have in our hearts, our lives change accordingly. Life requires our participation to happen. It does not happen by itself. We are one with the universe, both inside and out. Whatever surrounds us gives us clues to our inner state. Surround yourself with what you want to have in your life and be yourself. According to the karmic law of creation, we must be active participants in our lives if we want to get what we want. We can't just wait for things to happen to us. We must aim to surround ourselves with what we want in our lives and look in our environment for clues about what we need. An important part of understanding the law of creation is seeing that things outside of us tell us what is happening within us. So if you don't like how your life looks right now, look inward and ask yourself what you need to change. Wherever you go, there you are. The message is that you need to change yourself before you accept it from the world around you. So how you use this control determines how the world responds to you. Therefore, focus on your own success before trying to control or change others. Let them figure out for themselves how things will change. This law is all about personal growth and how you can achieve it, because every change begins with you. The key to growth is in your hands. The law of growth says that you have to change yourself to change the things around you. There are things you can change and there are things you have to accept. After all, you can only control yourself completely. You only have control over yourself. As you grow and change, life will follow. Maybe even the world will follow. Growth starts within us. Key takeaway: be the change you want to see in the world. The law of responsibility. We must take responsibility for what is in our lives. The law of responsibility is a reminder that you are the owner of what happens to you in life. This is a great reminder that what is happening to you is happening because of you. This eliminates the possibility of going outside to find the root of your problems. You are the product of the choices you make. The law of responsibility is about taking responsibility for everything that happens in our life, including the less good things. We handle the way we live our lives, not someone else. We handle how we appear in the world, how we allow others to treat us, and how we treat others. To enforce this law, you must take responsibility for the role you play in any situation. If there is a problem in a person's life, then there is a problem in them. We reflect what surrounds us, and what surrounds us reflects us. This is a universal truth. You have to take responsibility for what is in your life. Like the law of growth, the law of responsibility aims to teach you to take ownership of the good and bad things you create, rather than keep looking outside to find excuses. The people and the surrounding environment are your choices and your decision. If something does not suit you, it is your responsibility to change it. Take responsibility for the things you created. In this context, life's mistakes are just as important as the successes you benefit from. In fact, you learn the most from your mistakes. You are the product of the choices you make. You take ownership of what's happening. Don't make excuses. Deal with the bag. You may not have control over everything that happens to you, but you can take responsibility for your response to those things. Key takeaway: take ownership of your actions. The law of connection. The past, present, and future are all connected. The law of connection is based on the principle that everything in your life, including past, present, and future, is interconnected. Who you are today results from your previous actions, and who you are tomorrow will result from your actions today. The law of connection says that everything and everyone is connected in some way or the other. For example, even though your past, present, and future may seem completely different, they are still you. Everything you have experienced has led to the next thing, and the next thing, and the next thing. They all fit together. In the same fashion, we connect to others too. We help ourselves become learned, loved, honored, and respected. We do the same for others. There is always a connection. We just need to be observant and tune into it. Also, perform the smallest and the least important tasks as well, because everything in the universe is connected. Each step adds to the progress. After all, someone has to do the initial work to get the job done. Neither the first nor the last step is more important. Both are must for the completion of the task. The past, the present, and the future are all connected. If you are wondering how to remove the vicious circle of bad karma of past life experiences, the law of connection can help you with this. This law emphasizes the relationship between our past, present, and future, and reminds us that our control over the present and the future helps us to get rid of the bad karma of the past, whether from our current life or a previous life. Another point mentioned by the law of connection is that it takes time to correct bad karmas from the past. But every little step can have unexpectedly powerful effects. Therefore, all your actions, no matter how unimportant, affect you and your surroundings. Simply put, you need to take care of the little things too, so that other things come into your life. You need to remember that all tasks, first, middle, or last, are important to achieve your goals. Who you are today results from your previous actions, and who you will be tomorrow will result from your actions today. We are all interdependent. Everything you have experienced before makes you who you are today, and that affects who you are tomorrow. This includes what you did and the people you interacted with. Our interaction with others also affects their lives. Key takeaway: present karma heals previous karma. Focus. We cannot think of two different things at the same time. Focusing on too many things at once can slow down the progress and lead to frustration and disappointment. So the law of focus encourages you to focus on one thing at a time. If you focus on higher values like love and peace, then you're less likely to be distracted by heavy feelings of resentment, greed, or anger. Focusing on too many things at once can slow down the progress and lead to frustration and disappointment. So the law of focus encourages you to focus on one thing at a time. If you focus on higher values like love and peace, then you're less likely to be distracted by heavy feelings of resentment, greed, or anger. Although some of us may claim to be pro-multitaskers, but this inclination to do everything at once slows us down. The law of focus says you cannot invest your energy in two things at the same time. When you focus on one thing, you get more accomplished and get better results. You cannot think of two things at once. If we focus on spiritual values, we will not have lower thoughts, such as greed or anger. Our brain cannot follow multiple trains of thought with equal competency. When you focus on one thing, you get more accomplished and get better results. You cannot think of two things at once. If we focus on spiritual values, we will not have lower thoughts, such as greed or anger. Our brain cannot follow multiple trains of thought with equal competency. So if you have many important goals, try to act on them in a linear, ranked order rather than giving each goal only a part of your energy. You can only focus on one thing at a time. This is important because the divided mind is more susceptible to negative thoughts and, therefore, more vulnerable to negative energies. Mindfulness and meditation are great tools for improving focus. You can only focus on one thing at a time. This is important because the divided mind is more susceptible to negative thoughts and, therefore, more vulnerable to negative energies. Mindfulness and meditation are great tools for improving focus. Karma does not say you can't or don't have to multitask. Instead, it suggests that you will only know your full potential if you are focused. Direct your full attention to one task in order to accomplish it in the best possible way. If you can follow the most important goal and eliminate everything else, you will have a better life. Your mind cannot provide equal energy to several things together. If you have multiple goals to accomplish, try to work them through one step at a time. You can do this, for example, by doing the first step for 30 minutes, and then the next step for the next 30 minutes, and so on. Use this approach for your work, your goals, and your thoughts. Key takeaway: focus towards your single goal. The law of giving and hospitality. Our behavior should match our thoughts and actions. Give what you believe in. This law will help you understand the value of your actions, reflecting on your deepest beliefs. For example, if you want to live in a peaceful world, you need to focus on creating peace for others. This law speaks of selflessness, being giving to others, and obedience to what you preach. It is not just about talking and thinking good thoughts, but about walking, talking, and acting based on these beliefs through action. You need to focus on creating peace for others. This law speaks of selflessness, being giving to others, and obedience to what you preach. It is not just about talking and thinking good thoughts, but about walking, talking, and acting based on these beliefs through action. For example, you believe in charitable donations. Thus, the law of giving and hospitality states that when you get the opportunity to donate, you pursue and actually donate instead of simply supporting it. If a person believes that something is true, he will be called to show this truth sometime in his life. This is where one shows what they claim to have learned in practice. The focus here is on the relationship between belief and action. It guides and encourages the value of your actions that reflect your deepest beliefs. This law also says that the universe will test you. Life gives us the opportunity to practice lessons and show you when you need to work hard on certain aspects of your character. Your behavior should represent your thinking. Therefore, give and share out of inner conviction and not because of external factors. Life gives us the opportunity to practice lessons and show you when you need to work hard on certain aspects of your character. Your behavior should represent your thinking. Therefore, give and share out of inner conviction and not because of external factors. This law also helps you in finding the inner motivation in your actions. The inner motivation means the motivation that comes from within, not from external elements. For example, if you donate money, it is because you want to help people, not because you want to receive praise from others. The law of here and now. We cannot be present if we are looking backward. To have peace of mind, you must embrace the present. This can only happen if you let go of negative thoughts or behaviors from your past. If you focus on past events, you will continue to relive them. One practice to be here and now is to get rooted in your senses. Look around the room you are in. Focus your eyes on something. Blink and say, I am here. If you focus on past events, you will continue to relive them. One practice to be here and now is to get rooted in your senses. Look around the room you are in. Focus your eyes on something. Blink and say, I am here. As you may guess, the law of here and now is all about being present to the moment you have now. Right at this moment, listening to this book. Most of us live life thinking about our past actions and what went wrong, replaying the same old recording over and over in our minds. If we live in here and now and tap into the present with what we are doing, seeing, tasting, smelling, and feeling, we would not be so disconnected while talking to others, eating food, watching a movie, or spending alone time with ourselves. You cannot be here and now if you look back on what was or worry about the future. Old ideas, old behavior patterns, and old dreams prevent us from getting new ones. In Buddhism, karma is associated with the idea of accepting one's reality. Similarly, Buddhists often associate karma with the concept of living in the present moment. If you are deeply drawn to the feelings, experiences, and beliefs of the past, you will always have a foot in the past. Similarly, if you focus on anxiety or greed, you will always have one foot in the future. But in either way, you will never be here and now, in the present. Following the law of here and now means reminding yourself that the present is all you really have, and it is the only place to engage and enjoy. When you focus on the present, you will be able to decide which path you want to take. History repeats itself until we learn from it and change our path. Under this law, history will repeat itself until you learn the lesson and take steps to do something else to prevent this cycle. Change gives you a new way to create a new future and a better version of yourself, free from the patterns of the past. If you experience the same situation repeatedly, for example, you may be involved with the same unwanted partner. This is the law of change in action. This is a way for the universe to nudge you to learn a lesson. The pattern will repeat if you do not learn from experience and do something else to become a better version and stop this vicious circle. To change the pattern and the problem, we must be able to connect thoughts and feelings and then adjust and make changes accordingly. Meanwhile, if everything around you changes suddenly and dramatically, take it as a sign that you have made significant progress in your recent development. The definition of madness is to do the same thing over and over again and expect different results. This statement fits the meaning of the 10th karmic law pretty well. It says, the past repeats itself until you learn from it and take a new direction. If you are not happy with your past, you need to learn from it to find a new way. Only then can you create a better future for yourself. Without the changes, nothing will change. Change gives you a fresh path so that you can create a new future. And with that, you create a better version of yourself. Free yourself from the patterns of your past. Key takeaway? Learn to change your actions. Be consistent in your goals, and they will come to fruition. Every reward requires effort first. Rewards of lasting value require persistence and patience. The real joy comes from doing what you have taken up to do and knowing the reward will arrive on time. Simply put, the law of patience and the reward claims that patience is prerequisite, regardless of what your goals in life are. If you want immediate results, you will be disappointed. Your success will not be worth comparing with what you can accomplish. Instead, find out what your real purpose is. Pursue this purpose and enjoy the reward of knowing that you are doing what you need to do in your current life. At the same time, the associated success, emotional and material, will follow. The law of patience and reward states that any reward requires work and patience. Applying this principle to everyday life gives hope. Imagine that you have two goals. One is long and lasts several months. The other is short. Let's say your long-term goal is to get a raise and your short-term goal is to read 50 pages per week. Let's say you have achieved both goals. The happiness you feel about getting a raise is more than the happiness you feel about achieving your short-term goal. This only makes sense as you have worked harder and longer for the raise. The more you sacrifice, the happier you become. The reward feels greater because you spent more time and effort on it. Simply put, this karmic law says, long-term rewards require patience and constant work. It may take longer than you planned, but finding joy in the work will make the reward even sweeter. Key takeaway? Be patient and persistent. The law of significance and inspiration. Rewards result from the energy and effort we put into it. We all play a role and have something to contribute to this world. What we share at times may seem small, but it can make a big difference in the lives of others. The law of significance and inspiration is a great law to focus on when you need motivation, or when you feel that you have no purpose or you do not matter. According to this law, your every contribution will affect the world. You were born with a gift, a mission, and a purpose that only you can bring to the world with your uniqueness. Sharing your skills and gifts is really what you are here for. We all have value to give. Our special gift is meant to be shared with the world and make a positive impact. So it does not matter how small and unusual our part in the world can be. It is important. But remember, to get something back, you need to put something in. A person gets back what he puts into it. The true value of something directly results from the energy and intent invested in it. Each individual contribution is also a part of the whole. A small part also affects everyone. Therefore, giving in loving contributions gives life and inspiration to the whole. For example, whenever you make a creative, loving contribution to the world around you, your actions encourage a similar positive behavior in others, and that brings more positivity into your life. You may not always feel important, but you are always important. Without your presence, the energy of the universe will transform drastically. You may not always feel significant, but you always are. Changing karma. Mindfulness transforms karma. When you sit down and do not let your impulses turn into action. Zen experts say daily meditation can turn bad karma into good. Karma means B happened because it relates to A in some way. There is a root cause of everything that happens, and each cause has its own effects, steps, and side effects, at least at a non-quantum level. In short, when we talk about a person's karma, we mean the sum of the direction of a person's life and the things that happen around that person. They can cause current situations, actions, thoughts, feelings, emotions, and desires. Most common mistake about karma is to see it as having a fixed destiny. In actuality, it is the sum of trends that can lock us into a particular behavior pattern, which further creates a vicious circle of similar patterns. This way, we become prisoners of karma. But it is not necessary to be an inmate of karma. We can always change our karma. But there is that one moment that you ever have to change to break free from the vicious circle. Can you guess when that moment is? Watch your impulses. This is how the mindfulness changes karma. When you sit down, you do not allow your impulses to turn into actions. At that moment, you only see them. When you look at them, you immediately see that all those impulses in your mind come and go. They have a life of their own. They are not you, and you do not have to follow them. Not feeding or reacting to your impulses, you understand the nature of thoughts. This process of mindfulness burns up the destructive impulses with the concentration, equanimity, and non-doing. Without mindfulness, we can easily get carried away by the energy of the past without realizing our own success and without a way out. Our problem is always somewhere outside of us, be it the other person's fault or the world's fault, so we are always looking to justify our own views and feelings. But by doing that, the present moment never becomes a new beginning because we keep it from becoming one. All too common. Karma in one form or another is found repeating in relationships, where the relationship dies or lacks something important from the start, which brings heartache, grief, and bitterness. Eventually, we are likely to reap what we have sown. If you practice anger and isolation in a relationship for 40 years, you end up being imprisoned by anger and isolation. No big surprises. And given the role here, it's not satisfactory apportioning the blame here. After all, it's our indifference that locks us in. Where do we start? Why not with our own mind? After all, it is the tool from which all of our thoughts and feelings arise. Impulses and perceptions from there lead to worldly actions. When we stop outward activity and practice being still in the space, in the moment, we are deciding to break the flow of old karma and create a new, healthier karma.